Many years ago, when I finished my master's degree, there was so much hope in my heart. I had worked hard. I felt like I had sacrificed a lot. I even interned at a well-known cosmetic company during my program, and I thought for sure that would lead to a full-time offer. But then the email came, the one that said, nope. I remember sitting at my kitchen table one night, reading that rejection email over and over again and feeling like the wind had been knocked out of me. I grabbed my journal and I poured out my heart. The pain was deep, raw, and I just couldn't explain it to anyone. This episode is for anyone walking through silent struggles, job loss, unemployment, or even underemployment. If this is your current reality, I want to talk directly to you. Because it's more than a season, it's a refining place. And I hope you find comfort and practical hope in what I share today. Let's get into it. You're listening to the Driven Introvert Podcast, the place to be for dreamers, doers, and entrepreneurs who are ready to birth the dreams, callings, and ideas the Lord has placed in their hearts. Do you sense that God is calling you to step out and do something new, but you're held back by fear and uncertainty? Do you struggle with believing that you can do great things because of your quiet, reserved, and introverted nature? Welcome here. I'm Remy Roy, your host and founder of shepacked.com. I'm an author, an entrepreneur, a creative, and a committed trier. I'm here to help you get unstuck and make progress on your God idea. Let's go. So this is not just about losing a paycheck. It's about feeling like you're losing your footing in life. Your identity might feel shaken, like your confidence might feel like it's almost gone. I know because I've been there. Maybe you're there right now. If you are, I want you to hear me say this. I see you. I know that feeling and you are not alone. For those many years where I struggled with unemployment and underemployment, and yes, underemployment is when you are not making quite enough to survive and you have to depend on people, systems, or other things, right? As an introvert who hadn't learned to lean into community, I carried that weight nearly alone. My husband was kind and supportive, but during the day, I was by myself. My friends, the very few friends I had back then, would be at work during the day, and I felt invisible, forgotten. Many days, I screamed into the void. I cried on the kitchen floor. I was so confused about why I was struggling so much. So this conversation isn't just about job loss. Maybe you haven't been laid off, but you've been unemployed for months or even years. Or maybe you're underemployed. You're working gigs or part-time jobs that barely pay the bills or make use of your skills. I've experienced all of this. I know what it's like to send out dozens of job applications and hear nothing back. I know what it's like to wonder, what's wrong with me? To question my abilities, to question my worth, and even my future. And we know better than to tie our worth, to our paycheck. We know it in our heads, maybe even in our heart. But when you're in the thick of it, it's very hard to see straight. But in the middle of that dark season, I began to understand that even in this hard place, there are lessons. In hindsight, I realized that I used certain frameworks to find my bearings during that season. I needed a way to not lose my mind, to not spiral out of control or totally lose hope. So I want to share 3 really powerful mindset shifts that helped me get through that difficult time. These are not magic steps by any means. They won't remove the pain overnight, but they will give you a better frame for the journey. Okay? Number 1, I reflected on God's faithfulness. I know that might sound a bit cliche, but hear me out. When you're in the thick of disappointment, it is very easy to forget how far you've come or what's actually working. But reflection can be powerful. I look back on that time when I moved from Nigeria to the US for my master's program. I had no idea how I would afford $11,000 per semester. I didn't have that kind of money. I didn't have a plan, but I had people. I had family, friends, eventually a job. And by the time I graduated, I had paid every cent. I had no debt. That was a miracle in its own. So when I faced another valley, joblessness, I had to remind myself, if God did it before, He sure can do it again. I encourage you to do the same. Think back to what you've had to overcome, what you've been able to overcome. You may still be waiting for your breakthrough, but the fact that you've made it this far means something. God is not done with you yet. Number 2, reframe the blame. This is a tough one. You need to let go of blame. When you're in a hard season, our minds reach for someone to be at fault here. The company, maybe the one that laid you off, the economy, our manager, the government, even ourselves, maybe even our family. But here's the problem with blame. It keeps you stuck. If you believe you're powerless, then you start to act like it. And that's a dangerous mindset. That's just a dangerous place to be. I had to stop replaying the stories in my head that told me I was a victim. Even when things were out of my control, I learned to say, okay, what can I learn from this situation? What can I do next? Like, what is the next step I can take so that I don't continue to feel helpless, like a victim? Taking responsibility doesn't mean taking the blame. It means taking your power back. And trust me, hope is your power. You are not hopeless. Even here, even now, you can still make a choice for how you move forward in life. This is not a dead end. Your situation is not a dead end, right? It might feel like an illusion of a dead end. You feel like this is over. Like, what else am I going to do? But there's always a way out. So ask God for that plan. Look around you. Pay attention, right? And that leads me to number 3. Imagine your next step. There's always a next step. It may not be the one you were hoping for. It may not be glamorous, but there is a next step. I remember at that time, one day, a family member, someone who I really respect, suggested I volunteer while I searched for work. I was kind of offended at first because I thought I need a job, not something else that won't pay me, right? But eventually I listened and I thought, what is the worst that could come out of this? This is me volunteering my time and effort to help somebody else. I'm not doing anything right now. I mean, it's hard. Yes, I was always kind of doing something, to be honest with you. I was always kind of busy. I published books. I did writing workshops. I did some YouTube here and there. I wrote ebooks. I was doing things. But they weren't bringing in income, for me. And I still had a lot of time left on my hands. So I listened. I found a nonprofit nearby. I sent an email to them. I offered to help them with their writing and communication. That volunteer opportunity, it didn't lead to a dream job or anything, but it gave me structure. It gave me purpose and even a new skill. I remember I watched as a much younger team member in that nonprofit was using Photoshop, and I asked her about it. And that one observation sparked a new interest in me. I started learning graphic design on my own and later used the skills in paid roles. The thing is, I'd always had a desire to learn graphic design, and I had even tried to learn Photoshop on my own before then, but I struggled with it. But this interaction with this person at this nonprofit just revived that desire in me. And I thought, if she can learn, and she was self-taught, if she can learn, I can also do it. You never know what door your obedience will open. Volunteering or exploring a creative path might not feel like the answer for you, but it might lead to something. So imagine your next step, reimagine your next step. So these are just 3 things that I want you to think about, right? Number 1, reflect on God's faithfulness. Think about the things He's done for you in the past. It might feel heavy right now. It might feel hopeless right now, but think about what He's done. He can do it again. He can give you direction. Number 2, reframe the blame. Do not blame the company that fired you, the fact that the government is whatever, or the economy is bad, or your family members who are not supporting you. Do not play the blame game. When you do that, you give away your power. You're not helpless. You can make a choice. And number 3, reimagine your next step. There's hope. There's something you can do, a step you can take. It may not look like the next best thing, but it will move you forward, and you never know what doors it could open for you. Friend, I know this season can feel endless. You are tired of the struggle. You're tired of the silence. Please don't give up. I want to leave you with these points again. Reflect, reframe, and reimagine. This season will not last forever, but the lessons you learn in it will shape you forever. I love Romans 8:28, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. You've been called specifically. Even this, even now, even here, He's working for your good. Trust him. Take one creative next step, a small move that'll take you forward. All right. If this episode encouraged you, I would love to hear from you. I would love to chat, get on a call with you, just encourage each other. Send me an email at thedrivenintrovert@shepack.com and tell me how I can be praying for you or what next step you're considering. If you've been listening for a while, would you take a moment to leave a rating or a quick review? It really helps me and it helps other women and dreamers like you find this space. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoy this conversation, please take a moment to follow or subscribe to the podcast. I'd also love your feedback on this episode. You can scroll down on your app and click write a review. I'd love to read your takeaways from this conversation. As always, don't forget to take courage, trust God, and go pursue your big ideas. See you next time. The Driven Introvert is produced by shepack.com and Remy Roy. Ask a question or share a comment in a future episode? Click on the link in the show notes to record your question in a voicemail.